And the teacher will come in many forms. He may be a teacher, the usual teacher that we know. The teacher may be the internet. The teacher may be a book about the economy, about geopolitics. The teacher will appear when the student is ready. The next is respect for fellow men. And I guess this comes part of being humble. Respect for fellow men. When I was Postmaster General, I readily determined that the most critical member of the postal family was the humble letter carrier. And because of that, I designated a letter carrier's day. This was the first Saturday of December, and the reason why we selected the first Saturday in December was it was the start of the Christmas season. And the Christmas season is normally the roughest period for the postal carrier because of all the mail that the postal carrier would be handling during the Christmas season. And that showed respect for the letter carriers. That made a lot of difference as far as the letter carriers were concerned, because there was no regional directors day, there was no postal inspectors day, there was no postmaster generals day, but there was a letter carriers day, a recognition that he is the most important member of the postal organization. And you know, in my experience also, in managing Filipinos, in managing people, they want to be watched. I don't know about you, I don't know about your experience, but in my experience in handling the lower level members of the postal hierarchy, they prefer to be watched. Yung tinatawag na KSP, kulang sa pansin. Pag pinapansin mo, it motivates them more. When you visit them in their work areas, ang sabi nila, yung iba parang nangungulit ka. But in their particular case, they prefer it that way. I don't know how it is in the Philippine Air Force, but I would imagine that the same principle can also apply to be watching over the shoulders of someone way below the hierarchy. Pinapansin mo yung ginagawa nila. Sa kanila, that is respect. That is showing interest in what he is doing. And giving a good word. Showing respect for fellow men. And to me, that's very, very important. And this is something that I continue on as a congressman. As a congressman, I frequently walk around. I visit people, I talk to people, I even talk to daycare students, toddlers, elementary school students. Some people sometimes ask me, why are you talking to him, to that kid? He's not even a voter. I said, well, it's, to me it's very important, because I remember as a young man, when I was in the elementary, a city councilor gave me attention and I felt good about it. When I was in high school, then Senator Arturo Tolentino was our guest speaker, and he gave me attention. I was a humble high school student, and at that time, that is something that I cannot forget. And I guess if that person is a humble airman, an enlisted man, and a general, a colonel, or a lieutenant would talk to him, that shows respect. And to that person, that might be the key to motivating that person. That little gesture of respect, a few seconds of respect, of giving attention to that person might make a big difference to how that person performs in the organization, how that person performs in the community, in my duties as a congressman of the 2nd District of Parañaque. The next is discipline. Discipline is, of course, something that is part of our life. We learned this early in our career as plebes, as cadets, maybe even as, during my time, we called it PMT or ROTC members. But discipline, when I was Postmaster General, was something that was very different. We instituted service with a smile. I tried to be very kind to everybody. I socialized with them, I fraternized with them. But discipline also meant to have the intestinal fortitude to institute a tough but just brand of discipline. And when I talk of a tough and just brand of discipline, I'd like to mention that during my 3 years as Postmaster General, I had to dismiss in a very painful way 700 employees of the post office. 700, probably the biggest dismissal record during my time in the government bureaucracy during my time. I cannot remember any other organization that dismissed quite a big number. I had to have intestinal fortitude. Every time I would sign the dismissal order or even start the dismissal proceeding, I would be thinking of the family of the person affected. Parati ko iniisip, ano kaya ang mangyayari sa mga anak niya? Lalo na pag malaman na mayroong dismissal proceeding, what would happen to the feeling of the family, siyempre the shame of the family. Magugutom kaya sila. But if I worried too much about that, if I did not show intestinal fortitude, then I would be yielding to the temptation to have a loose organization and failing in the mission. I had to think of the bigger mission. And that was the mission of the Postal Service, to deliver the goods, to deliver the letters and the parcels, not only in time, but intact. And that was very important because most of the people that we dismissed were people who were found guilty of tampering with the mail. They had to go. There was no ifs and buts about it. It had to be something uncompromising. But you must have the intestinal fortitude. Medyo mahirap. Katulad ninyo, marami sa inyo, you have made a career out of the Philippine Air Force. You know most of the men working with you. You work with them, but then all of a sudden you run into some problem situations, a crisis situations, where you have to show moral courage. You have to make a tough decision, but make sure it's a just decision. I fired 700 employees, but let me tell you, I did not receive any threats from any one of them. I would encounter them years after, and they would still show appreciation, because they knew that the decision that I made was a just decision. But the moment you start compromising, the moment you show favoritism, you will dismiss one, but not dismiss another for the same or similar offense, then you will